What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. That is Mike Fuji up top. I am Al Norfleet, and together we are at the 50 with Fuji and Fleet. And today we have a special guest, the mother of Super Bowl champion Nicole Dean. I'm sorry, I got a tongue tied there. But Nicole Dean, Miss Nikki
Okay.
Dean, how are you, ma'am?
I'm good. How are you? How are
I'm
you?
doing wonderful. Again, like we
Oh,
said a few minutes ago, thank you for sharing your time. We won't keep you long. We want to talk a little bit about your Super Bowl
thank,
champion son. Go ahead,
Okay,
Mike.
okay. Let's do
thank,
it.
thank you for coming on. I mean, you must be ecstatic. How's first of all, how's N'Kobe recovering?
N'Kobe is in there. He's in it to win it. He's rehabbing. Rehabbing is going strong, getting stronger day by day, and he's there. He's doing it. He's on it.
That's good. I mean, you must be ecstatic. Nolan Smith taking N'Kobe's Dean out every playoff game coming out of the tunnel.
Oh man, that was everything. I mean, the
Right,
brotherhood, the love. Love is an action word. And when you can see it in action, it takes it to a whole nother level. So their brotherhood that they have, their Georgia connection is real. And on the team as well, it
right.
really that brotherly love is they really did their thing with that. So yeah, it was everything.
Good, good. So, my first question to you is what is your level of pride within you?
Oh, well, I'll say my level of pride for the Eagles organization.
Okay.
Uh, to have my son be a part of the team, to see him thriving, to see the brotherhood he has formed, to see him go out there and do what he needs to do. They're really, when I look at the Eagles, I don't look at a big I or a little U. It's a team. You know,
Hmm.
one doesn't function without the other. The other functions with that one. So they are a team. So they fill in the gaps. Uh, if one is missing, the gaps are filled in. So yeah, they are a team. So I guess my pride is not for individual, including my son. It's for the team as a whole.
Right, right. It's like the everybody has been saying on the team, you can't be great without the greatness of others.
Correct. Correct. I totally agree. I totally agree.
Miss Miss Dean, as far as the Kobe, is a potential first round pick. I mean, what was it like when he fell to the Eagles third round and Howie Roseman took him? I mean, what was that must
Well,
have been an honor.
uh, first, the process itself was shocking. It caught us off guard. I did not
Right,
see that coming. Things happen, but I didn't see it happen that way. So, I had to choke it up to God. He knew where he needed to be at that time and how he called him. And hey, we were great. We were thankful that the Eagles called him and got him when they did because it got a jewel. You know, a lot of
right,
people may not agree with me, and a lot of people may not know, but they got a jewel because I know that he's a hard worker. He's gonna go out there and he's gonna put up what needs to be put up, and he's gonna do what needs to be done. So they did get a jewel.
So now, when did you, or you guys, both you and he, first notice that this was something that was going to be very promising to him in high school, before high school, or what?
Well, I was a single parent, so
Hmm.
for me, it was working, them going to school. I did not play about the books. As you know, Kobe graduated with a 4.3 GPA, which I was most proud of. But if he didn't get the academics, there would have been no sports that he could have participated in my house.
Hmm.
So, high school years, he always played ball. He played from little league to rec ball to middle school to high school. And when he got in high school, I maybe started seeing that okay, this may be a way. Because we're mom for me, I was looking for a way to pay for college, honestly.
Hmm.
I was like, okay, if you touching the ball, he'll pay for college, then come on, let's touch the ball.
Right.
So I wanted to support those programs, but maybe his junior in college. I mean, in high school, junior in high school. I
Mhm.
started noticing it, when a lot of the recruits started coming for him. So maybe it was becoming real for me then at that time as mom.
Now, I was doing some research and I see that he had won the Buckus Award in high school, and
Yes.
he also won the Buckus Award in college. And there
Yes.
has only been three players that do that. Him was one, Manti Te'o, and a guy by the name of Jalen Smith. So, if you
Yes.
winning the Buckus Award in high school, yeah, you're on track to do something there,
Right.
Mike.
Miss Dean, were you at the Super Bowl in New Orleans?
I was at the Super Bowl. I was at the game.
Wow.
Yes, it was a super experience.
I mean, just the camaraderie after what was it like in that locker room with the families and just all those, just all the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, unfortunately, I didn't get to go on the field because I have a foot injury and I was on a boot and crutches myself. So I
Oh,
didn't get to
okay,
go down on the field, but I was
right,
right there in the stands. And I can tell you that that atmosphere was lit. It was full of emotional highs.
right.
I seen people crying. I seen people over laughing. I seen people just joyous. So there were a lot of emotional highs in that stadium.
Even even here, I've heard of a lot of people tailgating in the graveyard with their urns of their past loved ones that was Eagles fans. So going back a few minutes ago when you was talking about the love that the team has for each other, it's the same with the fan base. Once you become a Philadelphia Eagles fan, and especially when you grew into it, there's nothing like it. And for people to go out in the graveyard and take their urns, that's a love for that team.
That's some love. That's definitely love. That's
Big
definitely
time.
love. Yeah, big time.
Absolutely.
Miss Dean, as far as the Kobe, Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and Kaylee Ringo, I mean, coming from Georgia, like, what is the camaraderie with all those gentlemen together?
The brotherhood. These young men have played with each other. They're not strangers to each other. They're more than just teammates. They go beyond the
Right,
role of just teammates. There's a real brotherhood that exists. And I want to also add Lewis Seen, who's also now a new Philadelphia Eagle, who's with them in Georgia as well. He's a Philadelphia Eagle now. So I'm sure in the season, as the season comes, you all will be hearing about Lewis Seen too. He is definitely to add to that group, add Lewis now. So having them together is just it's everything. They have each other. They got each other back, front, side. They got each other. That's what they do. They're
Good.
brothers. Yeah, and if there's a disagreement amongst them, we will never know about it because they work it
Hmm.
out
right,
amongst themselves as
right.
brothers. So them working together is everything. And they have a winning mentality. They want to
Hmm.
win. They come from
Hmm.
Georgia. They want to win.
Right.
So that's them together is just I couldn't ask for a better atmosphere or a better place for him to be than with
Right,
his
right.
brothers.
Nice.
Now I understand too that at one point you was in the military, right?
Yes, I was in the military.
Okay, what years were you in the military?
I was in the army and I was in it from 1989 to 92 and reserve to 98.
Okay, where were some of the places you were stationed at when you was active?
Fort Stewart, Georgia. I went to Landstuhl, Germany. I also went to I'm a Gulf War vet, so I did 7 months in Operation Desert Storm, Desert Shield.
Okay.
So those were my places. South Carolina but that was for basic training for Jackson, South Carolina.
Fort
So
Jackson,
Fort Jackson.
E31. That's where I was.
Yeah, Fort Jackson.
Yeah, that's the reason I asked because I was military myself. I'm a 20-year guy, and
Okay.
when Mike was telling me a few minutes ago, I said, "Okay, good, good,
Thank you for serving.
absolutely,
You're welcome.
absolutely."
You're welcome.
So now, a lot like you said, you was a single parent, and I would imagine that your military experience had a lot to do with how you raise your children.
I would say some. Yeah, I
Right.
think so. I was authoritative.
Mm,
I was a very authoritative parent.
okay.
I do believe belt to ass or belt to butt. This is
Yeah.
Right.
a family show, so I did not spare the rod at all. You know,
Mm,
uh, we had discipline. There was a discipline that they were gonna follow. I did my children. I mean, I'm thankful. I didn't. They
right.
didn't give me any troubles in school, and
Right.
they already know I wasn't going. I didn't play that, so I was
Mm,
a mom first.
I was.
good, good. And I'm sure with professional athletes, when they have that type of upbringing, that type of discipline, that goes a long way in their game because, like most people say, you can be very talented, but if you don't have the mental framework to go along with that talent, then that talent sort of goes by the wayside. So when you got that discipline from mom coming up, and then you got the talent and the drive, then that's why he is where he is today.
Right.
Miss Steen, I did read up that you did like a lot of community work. That you were
Yes.
director of community affairs, and I don't know if I'm saying this right. Tunica County, Mississippi.
Yep. Tunica County, Mississippi. Yes.
Okay. And you took N'Kobe and his siblings and helped out, just volunteering all the time,
Absolutely.
which is great.
Absolutely. We did a lot of community service. Not only was it part of my job, it was just part of our DNA. We grew up doing community service, especially being from a small knit community. And I instilled the same thing in them, the same qualities, so that they weren't new to it.
Mm,
Because, in life, it doesn't matter what you do for yourself, it matters what you do for others.
Hmm.
right.
So I've always tried to instill that in all of my children, even our family, my sister, my cousins. We always done community service, even as a family. Our 12 days of Christmas was comprised of community service events for others in the community.
Right.
So, yeah,
Okay, and I guess that's probably because I see where he was named the finalist in the Werford Trophy and captain of the AFCA All State Good Works team for his community service and efforts. So you got that from
yes.
mom too, huh?
Oh, yeah, definitely, definitely. I mean, you have to train them up. You got to put it in them, and some of them gonna carry it over. Some of them may veer from it. Some of them will carry it over and keep it up. So I'm
Hmm.
glad to see that he has done that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Miss
Well,
Steen, oh,
go
go
ahead,
ahead,
Mike.
Al.
No,
Go
no,
ahead,
you go ahead.
Al. Miss Steen, was there any players N'Kobe one idolized growing up in the NFL or any other sports?
I don't know about players, but his favorite team were Pittsburgh Steelers. So
Okay.
he's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I was a Patriots fan. His brother was a Jets fan. Him and his sister were both Steelers fans. So
Hmm.
Okay.
we were a house divided that way. I don't know if he had a favorite player per se, but he did have a
Right.
favorite team.
Okay.
Okay. Now I don't know him personally because he's very new, but I've been with the team for like about 25 years as their team driver. So over the years, I've got to know quite a few of the players from McNabb, T.O., Dawkins, all those guys. But these new guys, they're not like the old guys. And but still, I enjoy being around the guys, the team, and I'm the transportation going to New York, Washington, Baltimore, wherever they're going. And like you said, all of those guys seem to have a very close knit camaraderie there that really is mandatory when you want to get to a certain point. So I praise them for keeping that within themselves. And like anything else in life, things don't always go right. But when you got that closeness, like you say, you can talk to
Right.
each other and work it out. That's going to carry this team a long way. So I'm looking for this team to have the same amount of success next year as well.
Absolutely. I truly believe it. So
So how long is his I mean, I know there's not a time frame, but you said he's doing well with his rehab and everything, and
yes.
I would take it that he's, staying around the facilities, now that the season is over there to keep the rehab up.
Yeah, he's definitely heavy into rehabbing. It'll be over the next couple of months. That's what he'll be spending his 6, 7 days a week,
Hmm.
25 hours, 8 days a week doing. It's rehabbing.
Right.
So yeah.
Good, good. Now, did you get to go to the parade?
I did not go to the parade. I did
Oh,
not go. I
okay.
mean, I'm on crutches and a boot. I didn't want to
Right.
take the chance. So,
Right.
you got to know your limitations. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
hear
I
you.
Right.
didn't get
I
to
hear
go.
you.
But I did watch it
Hmm.
via YouTube and other little live streaming. So it was great.
It
Yeah, yeah,
was. It was
absolutely.
definitely was a lot more people than the first Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're saying like about their estimated crowds will be like about 2 million. I mean, from the time that we left the stadium till we got to the steps, they were saying they estimated that to be around about 2 million, and the first one it maybe 1.1, but there was
Wow.
a lot of people out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, from the visual that I
Hmm.
saw on social media, there were a lot of people. So,
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Definitely.
good.
I was I was out in the South Philly, like about right by the stadium, so it was just a ton of people. You couldn't even move. There were people there probably 6:30 in the morning.
Oh yeah, they were because we had to be at the stadium at 6:30, and we got everything lined up and everything, and we could see people at that time of the morning going out to claim their spots. And 11 o'clock, we started rolling, and it was such an exhilarating thing to be in that parade, to walk driving up Broad Street and seeing all these people both sides of the streets,
right.
and it's my second one, and I would never get tired of it.
Hey,
Not
look,
here.
I took a flight out that morning because I knew that I wouldn't be able to attend the parade.
Hmm.
So I flew home that morning to start my rehab early for myself. So I saw my flight was leaving that morning. I got in my Uber about 6:30,
Hmm.
and I saw people walking towards the stadium. They were parking all over the streets, up near Wawa's by the airport. Um, the were coming down from the airport near Wawa's, Chick-fil-A. They were parking there and walking. And I was like,
Right.
this is crazy. But the excitement. I mean, I wish I could have physically been there. I'm
Hmm.
sure I
Right.
probably would have been there, but crutches, boot, wasn't a good
Right.
idea. Wasn't a
Yeah, I
bright,
hear you.
wouldn't have been the
Not at
brightest
all.
idea.
Especially with
Yeah.
all those people, you could have got
Yeah.
stepped
Right.
on in a heartbeat.
Easily, easily. And Philly
Right.
fans are very passionate. So
Yes.
so yeah.
We
No.
we love our birds.
Yeah, they're
You
very
know, that's
passionate, so I don't want to
that's a question
clap.
I want to ask you since we're talking about it. From Nicobe, from the time he first got there up until the parade, how does he describe the Philly fan, the
Well, he
Eagles
said
fan?
it best. He said it best. They'll take a bullet for you, but they'll put you in front of one as well. So both. He
That's
said it best. They'll take a bullet
Mm,
for you, but they'll put you in front of one as well. So
yeah.
yeah, he
right.
said it best.
Mm, okay, good. Mike, what you got left?
Ah, just thank you for your service in the military. Thank you for coming on with us. I mean, we deeply appreciate it.
I'm actually
Sincerely.
honored to be here. I'm thankful that y'all thought of me. It's an honor. So thank you, gentlemen, for having me on your show. I appreciate it.
No,
Absolutely.
I would like to
Definitely
have
our
you back
pleasure.
sometime next season if you
Hey, hit me
more
up.
than
Let me
welcome.
know. How about
Absolutely.
this
Absolutely.
season? How about this season? Because I'm looking forward to uh August, the preseason, and September getting here. So
Uh,
how about this season?
Absolutely, that'll
That's
work.
what I was referring to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Hey,
actually, I was telling my partner here because we started this back in July,
mhm.
and today is going to be my last show because and I got a couple other shows I need to look at, and being that this is all about football, so tonight will be the last show from there. But we're going to start up again when the probably right couple of weeks before training camp, and we'll definitely love to have you on then and
Yeah.
Definitely.
start the new
Well, let
season
me
off.
add this. There
Mm-hmm.
are some moms that came from Georgia together, which is Jordan Davis' mom,
Oh,
Jalen
Mm-hmm.
Carter's mom, um, Nolan Smith mom.
oh,
We formed this group called Moms on the
Mm-hmm.
Move, and I would love for you if you all would like to have moms to come on the show as well to
absolutely. That
talk
would be
about. I would love to have all to moms to talk about our organization, which is a nonprofit, and our mission is simple: inspiring communities through acts of kindness and love. So we're trying to help our young men in the community off the field. We
right.
represent them, and we're doing positive things in the Philly community. So we would love to actually come on the show to talk about moms as well.
Wow, we would
Absolutely.
be honored
Now,
to have.
do
All,
you have a website, anything yet for it?
Yes, we
Okay.
do. We have a Instagram right now and a Facebook page. It's Moms, which is MOMS,
mhm.
Moms on the Move. So it's called MOM, and it's
Mm-hmm.
Moms MOMS on the Move. So,
And
but it's
that's all
called
one
Mom
word, right?
MOM. Yeah, Mom M period O period M period.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, Mom.
Now,
Okay.
and is that the Instagram or is that the Facebook or both?
That's our Facebook, and our Instagram page is Moms on the Move .NFL
You know what?
or
Do me a
slash
favor.
NFL. Yes.
You
Uh,
have Mike's email, right?
Yeah, I'll send it to you,
Yeah.
Mike.
okay.
Email it to
Please
him,
do.
and he'll get
Thank
it
you.
to me there.
Or you can text,
Yes.
Yeah.
text it to me.
Oh yeah, I'll
And what
text
we'll
it.
do,
Yes.
we'll start putting it out there when soon as
Right.
we start back up. Matter of fact, I make this decision now. Our first show that we will have, we would like to have Moms on the Move on it.
Excellent,
Okay.
excellent,
That would be
excellent. We'll be
great.
very excited and glad to be there. Yes.
All
Oh,
right.
we
And
appreciate it.
I'm gonna get your email from Mike as well, because normally I send it out to everybody, but I get that, and between Mike and I, we will both stay in contact, and
Okay.
we'll make this happen.
All
Okay.
right.
Definitely.
Good.
Excellent.
Good.
We would
All
love
right.
to be
So
there.
thank you so much for your
Thank you.
time. Thank you for your military service.
Welcome.
Yes.
And thank you for creating a beautiful, talented superstar, Super
Super
Bowl
Bowl
winner linebacker.
champion.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
You're
you. And
welcome.
we hope give N'Kobe our best. Hopefully he gets, back to 100 and yourself too.
He's gonna get back to 1,000. Better than
Okay.
ever.
Before
You
we
as
let you
well.
go, I want to show you a few comments we got here.
Oh, okay.
This is my daughter down in Atlanta, Georgia. Matter of fact, all of them is her.
Hey, Nicole.
She's watching the show. Dog fans about the same. Yeah. Yeah, she lives down in the ATL.
That's right. She know about those dogs.
Oh yeah,
Oh
absolutely.
yeah.
Big time.
Yeah. Good, good. Okay, again. Oh, she said thank you, Mrs. Dean.
Oh, you're welcome. So very welcome.
Thank you for
All right. So
checking
once again, I love me some Nicole.
in.
Yeah, that's my daughter. But thank you again for coming on, sharing your time, and we look forward to talking with you later. And like I said, I'm gonna make that first show come August or July, whenever it is, about Moms on the Move. Okay.
Excellent. I love it. We'll be glad to be there. And thank y'all so much for having me.
Oh, thank
All right.
you.
Thank you
Our
so
pleasure.
much.
Okay.
And as we always say, go Birds.
Go
Go
birds.
birds.
All right. Thank you so
Have
much,
a good
man.
night. And
Okay. Have a good evening.
All
you
right.
too. Thank you.
All right.
That was great.
Okay, that was great, man. I enjoyed that.
It
And
was.
we definitely gonna try to put this thing together so we can have the moms on the move and
Definitely.
get that out there. And I might even try to get something done before the season start back up. So as soon as I get everything,
Right.
like I said, I'm gonna tear this down tonight, and
Hmm.
within a month or so, we may try to have her back on and talk about the upcoming season and moms on the move.
No. I mean, this season is very short for Howie right now. I mean, you got.
Yeah.
I know today was it yesterday? Franchise tags had to go out, or the start of that. I think the beginning of March. Teams
Hmm.
have till. I mean, as you were saying the last couple of weeks, the combine starting. Also, free agencies like March 10th or 12th. The draft is about 2 months away. So, I mean,
Yeah.
football's kicking in high gear.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. And
there's,
for our Eagles, man, it's a like I said, it's going to be a short off season.
oh, no
You know,
doubt. I mean,
but they're ready to deal with. They're ready to deal with. So
Howie's, he's got his work cut out. I believe, well, a couple of things that came out today. Kevin Patullo, the Eagles offensive passing coordinator, was named promoted to offensive coordinator, and
mhm.
trying to think of the other gentleman that was hired to take Kevin Patullo's place. I think
Yeah,
it's
well,
Harris
hopefully, I
Franks.
mean, it's in house. A lot of people didn't want it to be in house, but at least it's the
Oh,
familiarity with it, and
right,
hopefully the scheme don't have to change a whole lot because you know Jalen, well, not only Jalen, but the whole system
right.
has basically been different every
Well,
year.
Kevin Patullo's came with Nick Sirianni from the Indianapolis Colts, so he's been the passing game coordinator since 2021. So there is some familiarity. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but
Mm,
you got that camaraderie. So I'm sure Jalen had some input on it
right,
as
right.
that came out last week in the news.
Okay, now here's my daughter again. She's asking a question. Is it true that Dawkins is joining the coaching staff? I haven't
I
heard anything about that.
I don't I have never heard of that, but I think Brian Dawkins is so busy doing his what do you call, I don't want to say life coaching, but just being a public speaker out there. I think he just, he enjoys promoting that, everything with life and
Yeah, yeah. He has a lot of different programs.
right. I know he's
Uh,
active in a lot of, like you said, different programs, and I know he's like why can't I think of the word? He just his promotion of
yeah,
speaking is
motivation
just,
speaker.
yeah, that's it. No, he's just a motivational speaker, which he's perfect for. I mean, you want to run through a wall for anybody or with anybody.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
number 20, the Hall of Famer Brian Dawkins.
yeah. You're absolutely right, Nicole. You can't. It's definitely with Facebook. You can't believe everything you read on
Right.
Facebook. But I doubt it very seriously. If I find out anything, I will certainly give you a call and let you know.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
here's Mr. Gunn. Hello, sir. How are you?
I apologize, gentlemen, for my tardiness, but
Ah,
you know anything about my house? My house is a zoo with 3 dogs, a grandson, daughter, a son-in-law, and so I apologize.
Not a
Miss-
problem, sir. We're
no,
certainly glad to have you on.
Mr. Gunn, it's been a while. I know I've interviewed you a couple times in the past.
Yes, sir.
Welcome. Hope your family's well. Appreciate you joining us.
Thank you. If you call me Mister again, I'm hanging up.
D-Gon.
I'm too
All
young
right.
to be Mister. Well, in spirit. I'm too young in
I
spirit.
hear you.
Put it
No,
like
okay. Well, I wish I could say that.
that.
But anyway,
Oh,
everybody, just joining us is D Gun, formerly of Comcast, and also now Gun on One. And thank you so much, sir, for coming aboard.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Mr.
Yes, sir.
Gunn,
Yes,
I
sir.
had one question before we start. Are you still out there growing all the time?
You know what? It's been
I know.
a few weeks. It's
Right.
been a few weeks since I've been out there, and I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So and I keep in touch a lot with one of my cousins, and I have two sisters back there, and we're always texting. And they say, "You're nuts to be grilling out in the winter." And I said, "Well, you know what? There is no such thing as bad weather when you're grilling. The only time I don't grill is like on excessively windy days. So I have not been out there, but I will be soon."
Nice.
You need to hook up with what was his name? Mighty Mouse, grilling with McMillan.
Yeah, Mark McMillan and I. Yeah, he and I are really good friends. We talk all the time. I
Yes,
wish I
sir.
could get to his level in terms of all the sponsors and stuff like that, but my schedule doesn't allow it.
I hear you.
But he man, he's doing well for himself, has his own products out there now. So proud of him. And he's like me, he just loves it. I always tell people, I said, I probably will die of black lung disease or something like that because I have five different type grills that I use on my patio deck. So it could be the big green egg one day, it could be the Traeger pellet grill the next day, it could be my Blackstone flat top grill, or it could be my standard Black Kettle Weber grill, which is my favorite, and then I have an infrared charbroil grill, gas grill. So
Yeah, okay.
I just go back and forth.
I hear
Wow.
you.
You are a master of it.
I don't know about that. I do okay. I'll put it like that. I do okay.
I don't know. The food you displayed out, on social media looks delicious.
Well, it's like TV commercials, whether it's, I don't want to say names because I don't want to rip anybody, but you know how all the fast food joints, they give these glamorous commercials and the burgers look thick and juicy and the vegetables, the tomato and the lettuce looks fresh and plump. And then when you go there and you buy the stuff, it's like petrified half the time.
Right.
You sit there going, really? Because when I was a kid coming up, the food you saw in the commercials now actually was the food you would get when you went to buy it.
Right.
Not anymore.
You're right there.
All right, Mr. Gunn. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I keep looking around. When you guys keep saying Mister, I'm like, who the heck are they talking to? Mister.
Anyway, my first question to you, or first comment, is tell us a little bit about Gun on One.
Gun on One is a podcast I came up with several years ago, and along the way, I've had some great producers producing it. It's currently right now on the Inside the Birds Network, which is owned by Adam Kaplan, formerly of ESPN, and Jeff Mosher, who I used to work with at NBC Sports Philadelphia. And it's like any other podcast. The concept is I like to talk to favorites in sports favorites that pertain to the Philadelphia market. That people would be interested in, the Sal Palantonios, the Michael Vicks, the Chris Longs, Jeremiah Trotters, Brandon Grahams, Hugh Douglases, so on and so on. Brian Dawkins I had on last week, Ray Dittinger, so on and so forth. And I usually, so many people have hour and a half podcasts. I try to keep mine within the 45-minute limit because, as most people's attention spans nowadays are only like 5 to 10 minutes.
Right.
So I don't want to inundate them with a whole hour. And for me, that's kind of boring. I know what questions I want to ask. I sit and plan it out. And then a lot of times, when you plan out a line of questioning that you have, a subject will give you an answer that'll help you veer off into something even better. And you end up not even asking some of the questions you've kind of scratched out because the direction in which they took it is a much more interesting topical direction. So, but I have fun with it. I do it once a week during the football season. And so football is over now. And so it's on hiatus. Every now and then I'll bring it back out, like, maybe around free agency, the draft, OTA, something like that. And then, but for the most part, I let it rest until the next football season.
Right. And that's what we're doing here. I was just telling Mike a couple of days ago, this is the last show for the season because it's
Yeah.
over. The parade is over. We've got to
Yeah.
enjoy all of that.
Right.
Yeah. 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 So
But we-
you saved the worst guest for last, right?
No, the best for last. You wasn't gonna get me on that one.
I
Now we just had N'Kobe
Yes.
Dean mother on just
Okay.
right before you came on,
Okay.
and very interesting
All right.
lady to talk to. But what I want to tell you is, when you do start back,
Mm-hmm.
he has a group of mothers. It's called Moms on the
Moms.
Move.
Okay.
And hopefully I let Mike give you the information, email it to you. But if you could have her on your podcast, because
Yeah.
she has different mothers up there from players and
Mhm.
talking about things they are trying to do in the community to help younger kids. And
Mm-hmm.
so I told her I would do what I can to help spread this for her. So
That's a great concept.
absolutely,
It's-
absolutely.
Yeah, it consisted basically all the dogs from Georgia, Jalen Carter,
Yeah.
Jordan Davis, Kaylee Ringo, and Kobe Dean, Nolan Smith, their moms all
Mm.
get together. But just great concept, like as Al was saying. We'll get that.
That's all. Yeah. Please send me the information, please.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now, I got a question I want to ask you, and I guess so many people all over this place have been asking.
Mhm.
Why is it that you think Jalen, even after winning, being the MVP, still gets so much hate towards him or disrespect towards him? I mean, and this is from the national media.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was not just the national media, but the local media as well. And I don't want to use the word hate. I like to use the word indifference. There's always
Okay.
been an indifference towards him.
Mhm.
Some people gravitate towards him, some people don't, and there are some people in the middle who are still on that teeter-totter in terms of their perspective of him. And I saw something after he won the Super Bowl. I forgot which national site it was, but it came out with their top 15 quarterbacks heading into 2025, and he checked in at number 7.
Mhm.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, they haven't won anything, have they?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all.
And Joe
Now,
Burrow
they're
is the
great-
only one that has been to a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Now, they're great quarterbacks. Don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
But all Jalen did was win. I mean, he didn't turn the ball over. I think a lot of times we get caught up in gaudy numbers. We are so enamored with gaudy numbers.
Right.
350 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, 125, 135 QB rating. Jalen Hurts, for the most part, the last 12, 13 games of the season averaged 21, 22 passes a game, but he was completing 16, 17 of them. That's an unbelievable percentage. Wasn't turning the ball over. Hadn't thrown an interception up until the Super Bowl. Think about how many games he hadn't thrown an interception. Is he the most dynamic quarterback out there? No. Does he have the best arm out there? No. But what he does extremely well.
Right.
When he throws a deep ball, I mean, that man drops a beautiful dime in the bucket.
Oh, yes.
You
No doubt.
Throws a great back shoulder throw and always knows when to step up and run when there's pressure coming from the outside. Always kills defenses when he steps up in the gap and takes off and run. He makes most of the time he makes the right decisions. No quarterback makes every decision the perfect decision, but very seldom does Jalen make the wrong decision. And I just can't figure out, and I'm guilty of this also, because all last season of 2023 and all the way through the bye week and then a few games of this season, I was indifferent towards Jalen. I'm still trying to figure out what was it I liked about him and what is it about his game I don't like him. But the thing I respect the most about Jalen is I would not want to sit across from this man if you're playing poker, because his demeanor never changes. You don't know if he's mad. You don't know if he's happy. His face never changes.
Mhm.
And you know what? You got to have that kind of perspective when you're in the most high-profile position in professional sports, which is playing quarterback at the highest level, and you're in one of the most critical markets in America. You have to have thick skin or you won't survive in this market.
Mhm.
And Jalen has the perfect demeanor. Now, some people say, oh, he shields himself from the negativity. No, he doesn't. Let me tell you something. Every football player out there, whether they hear it directly on TV, radio, see it on social media, whether they see it, hear it directly, or they always have a small group of people who watch and listen for these things for them and inform them. So he hears about it. but nothing changed his demeanor. Nothing rattled him in any way, shape, or form. And I have to give him a lot of respect for that, And now that he's won a Super Bowl and he played it at a high level, it's time to get that proverbial monkey off his back. But like you said, there are still people out there talking that, well, he's a good quarterback, but I'm not going to say he's elite. Well, define elite. What is an elite quarterback? Everybody's definition of an elite quarterback is different.
Right.
I think at this point, based on what he did this season, and hopefully going forward, Jalen has to be considered up there with elite quarterbacks. It's not so much about how many yards you put up. It's not about you having a laser for an arm. It's about your efficiency. Can you get the job done? And he's done it time and time again. What more do you want from the young man?
Right.
Absolutely. Now, Mike, you got something?
Hey, I was going to ask you, Derek, just about, came out a couple of hours ago, Kevin Patullo promoted to offensive coordinator, and Parks Frazier, I guess, that was with Miami last year, Carolina the year before, brought to be the offensive passing coordinator in Kevin Patullo's place. Can you touch on these two moves the Eagles made?
Well, I'm not familiar with the latter, but Patullo, he's been around Sirianni for a while, and it's a natural progression. A lot of times, if you want to keep a good coach, you're going to have to elevate him. The good and the bad is when you have a good collection of coaches, everybody wants a piece of you. Look at what happened with the Detroit. Look at how many coaches Detroit lost. They lost both coordinators, the head coaching jobs. Kellen Moore had never been a head coach before. It was only a matter of time. And what he was able to do, you have to think about this. Before he got here, Kellen Moore was known as a pass-happy coordinator. All of a sudden, he comes here. They realize what they have in Saquon Barkley. They changed their demeanor, and it worked perfectly the entire season. It was Kellen Moore's time to move on and to take a job. Now, some people will say, you're taking the worst available job out there, because New Orleans at the bottom of the barrel in terms of cap space. They're $49 million underwater. But you get to go down there and put your own niche on there. And some people would say, he may have a 2-year death sentence because it's going to take them a while to change it. They're not sure on their quarterback in Derek Carr. Alvin Kamara is a better pass catcher than he is runner at this stage of his career. He was a heck of a runner when he was younger, better pass catcher than he is runner now. They don't have much talent down there in New Orleans. But Kellen Moore gets to go down there and put his own niche on there. Now, let's say he turns it around in a couple of years. He's going to be able to write his own ticket after that, anywhere else he wants to go. So I'm happy for him in that regard. Patullo, I heard him talk recently, and he was talking about how he is not a clone of Nick Sirianni. They're very different, and a lot of times he says that's what makes great cohesiveness is when you have a vastly different perspective of what you're trying to accomplish. Because you take a little of this, a little of that, and you hope it works. And in Eagles' case, it worked all season long. And a lot of people don't realize this. He had a lot more input into the offensive structure than people give him credit for. Everybody thinks it's just Nick Sirianni and Kellen Moore, but Patullo has a lot of input as well. So for Sirianni to immediately elevate him, it's a natural progression. Now you could also add in, considering the Eagles played in the Super Bowl, all the other potential candidates were gobbled up, And so what are you going to do? You're not just going to – and plus you got the scouting combine starting next week, so you want your staff in place so you can critique potential new talent that's coming to your team as well. So all of those encompass reasons are why he was elevated to that role, and I think he'll do a good job. Now, you might say, well, they did that before a couple of years ago, and it didn't work, But hopefully this time around it works for them.
Now, talking about free agency, I think today it was released that the cap is going up between 277 and 281, I believe. Now, with those numbers, first of all, what is the most important free agents in your mind that you think we should retain?
Oh, you have to start with Bond. You cannot let Zach Bond get out of the building, period. Now that they have more wiggle room, right now the Eagles are sitting at $19 million plus in cap space. Having that additional 20-something million is going to help in terms of what they're going to do. I would say Zach Bond first, and if I could, Mekhi Becton second. I know a lot of people say Josh Sweat, Milton Williams. I think they're going to get priced out of the Eagles market, and that's okay because you got some young up and coming players who deserve a chance. Also, you already have a concrete nucleus on defense. You just need to add in a few more pieces. And you look at Ajomo, played well for them. Jalix Hunt played well for them. It's their time now, And you hate to see a Milton Williams go. You hate to see a Josh Sweat go. But you know what? God bless you. You help them win a Super Bowl, and now it's time for you to cash in.
Right.
This may be both of those players. This may be their last attempt at a big payday. So I can't be down on the player for trying to get all he can while he can, because in the NFL, as you know, it's not like Major League Baseball. It's not like the NBA where the money's guaranteed across the board.
Right.
Exactly.
And so go out and get what you can while you can. You hate to see them go. They're great players, great community guys, but it's time. And as we've seen the Eagles do in the last 3 years, they have figured out, whether it's by way of free agency or the draft, how to plug and play to keep this thing moving. Howie Roseman is second to none in terms of finding players either through free agency, except for Bryce Huff. Let's not talk about that one. Either through free agency or the draft to find the right players to plug and play. And so I'm just going to put my trust in Howie that he's going to be able to do that again this offseason.
Absolutely.
Derek,
Now,
do you see?
Go ahead.
Do you see Brandon Graham coming back? Or?
The $1 million question. Every time I talk to Brandon, he has told me maybe. I said, wait a minute, you went from this past offseason to I'm out after the season to now maybe. Why don't you do like Brent Selleck did, won that Super Bowl in 2018 and rode off into the sunset. He feels he has more to give. And, let's face it, he was their best edge rusher until he got hurt at 36 years old.
Exactly.
He came back a lot sooner. He came back in 7-8 weeks from an injury that was initially diagnosed as a 4 to 6 month rehab injury. And he came back and he played 13 snaps in the Super Bowl. People ask me this every day because, they know the relationship Brandon and I have. I said, to be honest, while I'm sitting here right now, I don't know. I honestly don't know. He's not tipping his hand one way or the other in terms of what he's going to do. If he decides to retire, he's got his money. He's got 2 rings. God bless him. If he decides he wants to play another year, more power to him. If he feels his body and mind can hold up for another rigorous off-season training camp, 17-game season, playoff season, more power to him. Brandon is one of those guys. I don't know if he'll ever grow up. He's a big kid. I've never seen a guy in the NFL who gravitates towards everybody he comes in contact with. Brandon stops and talks to everybody like he's known them for 20 years. I always remember and joke about how the first day of training camp, when he comes out of the building and walks the gauntlet of media and fans standing there, he walks up and down the line and shakes the hands of every media person. How you doing? Good to see you. I'm like, are you running for office or something? But that's Brandon Graham. That's his personality.
Yes.
And so if he decides to play, from a selfish standpoint, I hope he decides to play another year at 37 years old. I mean, you look at Calais Campbell. Campbell's 38, 39. He still played. So if Brandon feels, it's a rarity, yes, for a defensive lineman to still be playing at that stage of his life. But if Brandon feels his body and mind can hold up, more power to him.
Absolutely. I was going to touch on something, but you basically covered it. But just tell me about the relationship of you and Brandon Graham, because all those years watching you on TV, you and him interact with each other. I mean, it was so joyful, man.
It's an interesting story. NBC Sports Philadelphia used to have a show on called Breakfast on Broad early in the morning with my good friend Barrett Brooks and Rob Ellis. We're one of the 4 co-hosts on that show. So at one point, one year, Brandon started yelling, "Where's D Gun? Where's D Gun? You wrong again, D Gun." And I'm like, what the heck is he talking about? And so it became this phenomenon. Every time he would see me, even during preseason games, you see on the telecast, he'd stand up on the bench and you would people hear him say, "Where's D Gun at? You wrong again, D Gun in preseason." And some of his teammates are looking at him like, "Who are you talking about?" I didn't find out until a year later what had happened was Barrett Brooks, when they were on Breakfast on Broad during the season, would tell Brandon, D Gun picked against you guys. Now, he was a bold-faced lie. To be objective like I am, yes, there were times when I would pick against the Eagles, and most of the time I was right, not toot my own horn. And so Brandon kept that to heart. And so I didn't find out until a year later when Barrett Brooks finally told me. He goes, "That's what started." I'm like, "You dirty bleep," And then all of a sudden it took off, and then I'd walk around. I'd be at Wawa's. And people are like, "Wrong again, D Gun." I'm like, So that's how it started, and we formed a close bond from that point on.
Yeah. Brandon is a great guy, great football player. I've been around him quite a few years myself. And my personal opinion is I would like to see him go off in the sunset because he got his 2 rings. He's the longest tenure athlete in the city of Philadelphia. Even though it didn't start off very good in the beginning, but I mean, he turned out to be a gem for the Philadelphia Eagles and something that no one will ever forget. And I just love talking to him every day when I see him. And great guy.
Well, Father Time is undefeated. It catches up to all athletes, and it catches up to all of us in life as well.
Yes, sir.
It's a rarity for a player to still want to play professional football into their late 30s. Any professional sport for that matter. We're starting to see quarterbacks playing into their early 40s, NBA players. Look at LeBron, 40 years old, still playing at a high level in the NBA. We're starting to see that rarity where players, some are exceptions to the rule, and I just feel that if he feels like he can do it, who are we? I'm just saying in general, who are we to deny him that? I mean, he knows he's in the twilight of his career. He knows every season could be his last. Right. He's not 22 anymore. He's approaching 37 now. Why not let him have that one more glory? If it doesn't pan out, if they don't get another Super Bowl, you know what? He's satisfied that he was able to do something a lot longer than he ever anticipated, and more importantly, with the same organization. And that's another rarity.
Yes.
Defensive linemen just don't get to spend 15, 16 seasons with the same organization, But see, Brandon is more than just a football player to the Philadelphia Eagles. Mm-hmm. He is that consummate locker room leader. He is that stand-up community guy, first and foremost. He's got that smile that could win him a presidency if he wanted to, Right. So he has the makeup of exactly what Jeffrey Lurie, Howie Roseman, Don Smolenski want from a person representing the organization. So yes, they're going to give him a little bit more leeway to allow him to decide when he wants to call it a career instead of trying to force him out.
Right.
Okay, now I got a question for you. Mm-hmm. I got a daughter. My daughter's up here saying he will go down in the Hall of Fame. Mm. Give me your opinion.
Brandon Graham in the Hall of Fame. That's a good question. I don't think he has the career stats to get into the Hall of Fame. Brandon Graham may be like another Eric Allen situation. He might have to wait 18, 19 years before he would get into the Hall of Fame if he's that lucky. As much as every player cherishes that opportunity, if Brandon doesn't get in, Brandon doesn't care. I mean, don't get me wrong. He would love to get in, but if he doesn't get in, his career is complete.
Right.
First round draft pick, paid handsomely for his endeavors, 2 Super Bowl rings, and playing the game late into his career. Can't ask for any more than that.
Yeah,
but I don't think he has the credentials to get into the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm. All right, Mike, you have anything about running out of time here?
I was going to say, I don't know if anybody really had brought this up, but the coincidental thing was Brian Dawkins, Eric Allen, both got in the Hall of Fame. The Eagles won the Super Bowl both times. Mm. Just a little tidbit. That's
so you're a superstitious kind of guy?
I just think fate just, Doc got in.
Yeah.
152. EA finally got in, and here we were again. And here's another tidbit: number 20 and number 21. So who knows who's next to get in the Hall of Fame? But
You never know. I mean,
hey,
I'm surprised out of all the worthy candidates this year, only 4 were selected to the Hall of Fame. Usually they have more, but they only selected 4 this time around for the Hall of Fame, which was surprising in a lot of ways, which means there's a lot of guys that are going to be up next year, and even a newer crop of guys as well. So it's going to be interesting to see. The more guys you have that are eligible, the more guys that get pushed back further and further. So it's going to be interesting to see how they thin out the herd next year for the 2026 Hall of Fame class as well.
D-Gun, one quick question for you. Now that I know Ray Dittinger was asked this, is this the greatest team and greatest Eagles team in modern day?
Let's see. I've been here since 1997. And I, like I said, I had Brian Dawkins on my podcast last week. And Dawg said to him, this was the best, most well-rounded team that he could think of. And that includes their team of like 2004 and the team of 2009, I believe it was. And for him to say that when you consider the talent they had, that says a lot. So I'm going to have to go along the lines with Dawg in saying that in the time that I've been here, and this Eagles organization has had some pretty good defenses since I've been here, I think this is the best defense that I've seen. This is the best well-rounded team that I've seen. Think about who Donovan McNabb was throwing to when they were going to 5 conference championships. James Thrash, Todd Pinkston, and that's not a knock against them. You know, Greg Lewis. Those I love those guys. Those are my guys. Right. But can you imagine if Donovan had an A.J. Brown and a Devontae Smith to throw to? I mean, are you kidding me? The numbers he might have put up with those guys and the things they might have been able to do as well. But in terms of just the best team that I can remember in the time that I've been here, there's no question. This team, in terms of talent, depth, versatility, there's no question this is the best team that I've seen in the time I've been here.
Definitely.
I would agree too. I started working with the Eagles in 2000, and I would definitely agree. This is the absolutely best, most well-rounded team out of those 25 years that I've been around the club.
And I think most of the offense will be back. The nucleus on the defense will be back. Even if Darius Slade doesn't come back, you got Keely Ringo waiting in the wings. You have Eli Ricks, who they haven't even activated much, is a pretty good player. Sidney Brown is still waiting his turn. You know, you got a lot of depth, a lot of versatility. If they get Zach Bond back, the defensive front, you got Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter coming back as well. You know, and like I said, these young kids, Jalex Hunt, you know, Ajomo, they got a pretty doggone good team, and they're in a pretty doggone good position to at least get to the Super Bowl again next season as well.
Right. Absolutely. All right. We're out of time, but I want to mention your name. I got a bunch of names I want to talk about, starting out with you, Mr. Derek Gunn, Ray Dittinger, Hollis Thomas, Mark Farzetta, Dave Spadaro, who have helped Mike and I on this show since we started. So I'd like to thank you guys. Mike, you have some names?
Lauren Hart, Brian Propp, Luther Broughton, Hollis Thomas, Ed Kratz last week, TJ Jones from the Saints podcast earlier in the year.
Yeah.
Chris
and the guy from the Green Bay podcast as well.
Where? Wayne?
Yeah, Wayne Henderson.
No, let's not forget Chris T.D. Jones, who joined us earlier in the season.
Yes. So I want to thank all you guys and Mr. Gunn. We appreciate you, and we'll get that information to you about Moms on the Move.
Yes.
And thanks for sharing your time with us on At the 50.
No problem.
It's always a pleasure.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I'm back on again.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Have a good night.
You too.
All right, Mike. Great show, man. I appreciate you. And like I say, I'm gonna tear all this down tonight or tomorrow and get to work on the new system. And well, we'll be in touch way before then, but
Oh yeah.
definitely send me Mrs. Dean information because I would really want to try to get that thing for her going on.
Oh, definitely.